Welcome to the board meeting, September 11th. Thank you all for attending. We'd first like to start off with a moment of silence in honor of Patriot Day. Thank you. All right, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Amy, would you take roll call, please?
Mrs. Talby?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Heather?
Here.
Mr. Teetsort?
Here.
We'd like to start with our mission statement. The Northwest Local School District will create a responsive learning community where all students are valued, challenged, and guided along a pathway to success. And we like to approve our agenda for the evening. I need a motion and a second.
So moved. Second.
Okay, that passes 5-0. Matt, we have a student achievement report.
Yes, I have a few items to mention here. From the Houston Early Learning Center, 17 preschool students earned all points on their Panda cards for exhibiting Be Kind, Be Safe behaviors for the first few weeks of preschool. To view photos of the achievers, check out the Houston Early Learning Center on Facebook. From Colerain High School, the following 3 Colerain High School students earned academic honors from the College Board National Recognition Programs. These programs celebrate students' hard work in high school and showcase their strong academic performance. The academic honors for rural area, Black, Indigenous, and/or Latino students are an opportunity for students to share their strong achievements with colleges and scholarship programs that are seeking to recruit diverse talent. Congratulations to College Board National Recognition winners, Abigail Abraham, National African American Recognition Award, Alexander Zamora Gerdes, National Hispanic Recognition Award, Jaden Hall Hughes, National African American Recognition Award. And also over the weekend on Saturday, the Colerain High School Marching Band at the King's High School Invitational took home some hardware. In first place in the AA category, they took home trophies for Best Visual Effect, Best General Effect, Best Percussion, and Best Music. At Montfort Heights Elementary, 5th grade students at Montfort Heights Elementary participated in a fun and engaging STEM activity to help build community and team building capabilities to start the year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And no Butler Tech update
Not
for this
tonight.
evening. Chris, do we have anything from legislative update?
One brief thing, Nicole. The governor is putting together a committee, so it's not really legislative, but he's putting together a committee on bus safety because of the accidents. Daryl, you've probably heard of it. And I think they're meeting for the first time this week, and it sounds like one of the mandates for new buses, I don't think they're going to do old buses, is seatbelts. So the safety thing's paramount up in Columbus right now. That's it.
Thank you. Any report from employee organization?
That's fine.
Okay, next up is community comments. Just like to remind everyone that although the meeting is held in public, it is not a public meeting, therefore no response from the board will come when you address them. And each person is allotted 3 minutes to speak. We have one tonight. Ryan?
How are y'all doing today?
Good.
So the issue that I'm having here is I live just under a mile away from Pleasant Run Elementary and Middle School, and therefore I get no bus transportation. And so what we're looking at is 10 and 11-year-old children walking by themselves almost a mile down Pippin Road. There is not a sidewalk that runs the entire length. In order to stay on a sidewalk, they have to cross a crosswalk that there's lines on the ground and a sign hidden by a tree. There's no crossing guard. Ever been there. 8 times a day I drive past this. I've contacted Mr. McKee and Mr. Yater on these issues. And I said, hey, I'm willing to have my children walk, a quarter mile the other direction through a neighborhood with sidewalks on it to get on a bus stop over there. And was told the only way that can happen is I have to go to a bus stop, watch children get off the bus, randomly walk up to the house and say, hey, noticed you had a kid getting off the bus. If I can make it past that conversation, then I have to ask a complete stranger to sign a piece of paper saying they're responsible for my children before and after school. But to have my children walk almost a mile down a busy road, where if they were by that road on a Saturday, they'd be in the house grounded for the next month. And it just doesn't seem right as I'm coming to a school board and asking, hey, this is a safety issue. Can you guys please help me out for the safety of my children? I mean, I've heard more of just ridiculous responses. Not just going up and, going to the bus stop, cold knocking on doors, say that my children are special needs, then we can get them on a bus. Tell my parents I'm going to drop them off a half a mile from Corrin Elementary School before school every day and pick them up from there every day. We'll send a bus all the way out there to pick them up. I'm begging you guys at this point in time. This is an issue of safety for my children. So much so, and I know everybody's got a sob story to tell, I can't work more than 5 hours a day because I have to have my daughter there at 7, my son there at 8, pick my son up at 2, my son at 7, daughter at 8, son at 2, daughter at like 2:30, I guess, is when they start letting them out. And I can't make it. And I'm willing to do, like I say, my kids can walk 2 miles through a neighborhood where they're going to be safe. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Pippin Road, but any day of the week, I'm more than willing to meet you guys at the school. I will cook you breakfast and start at my house and walk that route with you guys. And if at the end of that, you can look at me and say, I would surely allow my 10-year-old daughter to walk this route by herself, I will concede 100%. But it's just not safe. And I don't know if that looks like, I know you guys have voted that it's this mile radius. I mean, we're talking elementary school kids, maybe a half mile, something. Sorry, thank you guys
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks, Ryan.
For tonight, consent items, we'll start with Human Resources.
We seek your approval for the following: 5 resignations, 11 initial appointments, 5 change in status, and various supplemental items.
We have several donations. We have the Colerain High School Boosters donation to resurface the tennis courts. We have various donors to the Health and Safety Fair. Sycamore High School donated tables and chairs to Colerain High School. And the 1917 Society donated pocket constitutions to 8th graders. We also have several vendor contracts, mostly being non-public school contracts, some special education contracts, and one for a photo booth for the Colerain High School dance.
I'm back again asking for your approval for revised instructional fees for high school orchestra so that they are able to use digital sheet music instead of just print sheet music.
Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the adoption of the consent items as listed.
Need a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I'd like to ask the board to dispense with reading of and approve the August 21st regular meeting minutes, as well as we have 19 then and now certifications that are from prior year purchases due to transition and turnover of staff. And finally, we need to accept, approve, and appropriate funds for 2 grants at Colerain High School. So with that, I'd like to ask the board to approve the fiscal consent items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry, write some down. Any discussion or questions? Amy, can you just describe for those listening what a then and now is, just since
So
we-
a then and now
there's some-
certification tells the vendor that we had the money then when the purchase or service was made, and we have the money now to pay them. The certification is on all of our purchase orders at the time when we have a purchase order, but when a then and now is after the fact, it's either the amount of the service or purchase was over the purchase order, or there was no purchase order in place at the time when the purchase or service was made. And anything above $3,000 has to have board approval in order for me to pay it. Then and now certifications under $3,000 I can do as long as the funds are there, and then go ahead and pay those invoices.
Thank
I mean,
you.
is this normal to have invoices from 2022? At this late date in 2023?
Those are from last fiscal year, and due to the transition of personnel, those are being processed now.
And they're not retrospectively able to go back on last year's fiscal budget. It'll be unbudgeted for this season, correct?
Correct. It'll be on this year's budget, but remember, our budgets stay within our 3% overall, so adjustments will have to be made for this year.
How much total money is that?
It's a little over 330.
$325,000. It puts the board in a weird position because we can only do so much due diligence on this. And to come to us and ask to approve this because there's been operational fractures in this in the, I guess, the operations is a lot to ask, quite honestly. And it's a lot to ask for the community, that it's going to roll over onto the next budget that it's completely unbudgeted for. You know, in any business model, there's a trickle-down effect. You know, you drop a rock here, there's a ripple of effect that happens, and hopefully this gets cleared up because this is becoming a problem.
Any other questions? Amy? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Joe?
So just a couple of things to share. There are a couple of grants just worth noting that we have something that's a Stronger Connections grant. It's something that there's a non-competitive part to it where the district and the non-publics both get money around the Stronger Connections, which is a grant to address learning by supporting our PBIS program as well as the instructional environment. And then there's a second competitive part, and the district as well as St. Ives both received additional funds through that competitive grant process. So those are processed in supporting the efforts within our district as well as the non-publics. And then the Student Success and Wellness funds, as part of Governor DeWine's focus on mental health and wraparound services, he specifically in the last budget bill and continuing in the current biennium budget has dedicated funds towards student success and wellness. Those funds are restricted, which means that they can only be spent on a specific list of things that are predetermined by the governor. And so we've been able to partner with our Educational Service Center as well as Best Point Behavioral Health to make sure that we've brought in mental health and behavioral supports into our school system. So it kind of goes back to that idea that it takes a village. And so we're excited that those funds have rolled into the district and that we're able to use those with the requirements that have come through to support our students in the learning, not only in our district, but in the non-publics as well.
Great. Thank you. Is that it? All right, board member comments. Chris?
Just been to several games, Colerain and Northwest, even though the numbers aren't exactly going our favor. They've been, other than minor stuff, good experiences, no problems, other than maybe a cold hamburger at one of the facilities. So we've gotten off to a good start with our fall sports program.
And Chris, if you don't mind me jumping in on that one, so I think it's a good way to kind of segue, just to remind everyone the new requirements we have around our home football games, that only our students and the students of the opposing team are permitted to be there, and middle school students need an adult to supervise them while they're there. We've really kind of tried to make sure that it is a very enjoyable event for everyone who shows up.
Are other school districts doing that, that we know of?
I know a few that we've played that already have said that's a great idea
Okay.
and are looking to do the same.
Gotcha.
There's been, apparently there were some isolated, two guys got into it Friday night at Colerain, but I didn't see it. And there's been there's a good police presence too.
Good.
And no trouble whatsoever, very enjoyable evening to be out watching football.
Other than the outcome of the game.
Other than the outcome.
Yeah. I
But
know.
everything in this
It's
life
tough.
is cyclical, and, just a few years ago, we were the lawnmower and the other teams were the grass.
Okay.
Jim?
I don't have anything.
Matt?
I don't have anything to see.
I just wanted to reiterate what Chris was saying. There's the new guidelines, very different atmosphere, feel very safe. And then the only thing I wanted to say is I have a friend that teaches at Taylor Elementary, and they did a big brother, big sister program. Did you hear? And they said it was really, really fun to watch the
Buddy Day? Is that what you're
Buddy
talking
Day.
about?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Thanks. Do you know anything about it you want to share about that?
Casey shared with me that they were doing one a month and that they had partnered students in grade K1-2 with students in grades 3, 4, 5. And they planned a fun activity that was kind of coordinated with the teachers, and he sent great pictures. We put it in our newsletter as
Yeah.
well. Like a lot of fun.
And when they were talking to the kids on the older and the younger side of the Buddy Day, both sides were nervous. They were like, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, it's been so long since I was in kindergarten or whatever. But they said at the end of the day, like some of the kids were holding hands, and like it was really, really neat. And I just think that stuff, that's magic.
He
as far
said
as
they're
I'm concerned.
definitely doing it intentionally to try to create a community,
Yeah.
student community where everybody's looking out for each other. So I think it's a great
And then there's some talks
initiative.
about if somebody needs time out or something, they might actually be able to go get their buddy and help let them kind of mentor them through the situation, which I find is just outstanding.
Just want to congratulate Colerain Band again on their success over the weekend. I saw that, I guess a lot of the high school bands aren't traveling anymore, but that Colerain, Sycamore did come to Colerain, and at halftime, they all got together and had snacks and were playing, and I thought that was really cool. Also, just encourage parents to make sure they're signed up for texts and supporting the PTA events. We have a lot of mums for sale across the district, so those are great. Get out there and support all the PTA events that are going on. And thank the bus drivers and transportation department and everybody that's been working on the things that have been going on, but just making sure that they're getting the kids to school safely, and just appreciate everyone's hard work the first couple weeks, so.
And Nicole, that's a great segue, if you don't mind, just to reiterate to people that we are having to double run some routes some days, so those delays we're trying to communicate through the app, so please make sure that you're signed up for that. But on some of those dates where we're having one driver drive 2 routes, just be patient. Drivers are working as hard as they can. They're still ironing out some of the details of the routes, so we are getting into that routine, and it will get smoother and smoother as we get deeper into the school year. But we appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as we work through some of those, iron out the wrinkles.
Great. All right.
With that, We have a motion to move into executive session related to several ORC and FERPA codes with matters related to be kept confidential by federal law or state regulations or state statutes. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the motion to move into executive session as listed.
So moved.
Second.
And just a reminder, when we move to executive session, that we will return, but just to adjourn the meeting. No further business will be discussed. All right, thank you.